It's already heating up. It's probably close to 100 by now, and it's not even midday. Now, this shelter here took me about probably 3 minutes to actually rig up the tarp, and I'll show you some of the knots and how that was done. It's pretty simple. And then I gathered a whole bunch of bedding. This is all I've got to work with in this area. I've used juniper duff before. In other regions, you might be able to find some cottonwood leaves under a tree or in a wash, but you need something to keep you off the hot conductive properties of the ground. In the wintertime, it's the cold conductive properties of the ground. Because what's the point if you build a good shelter, a proper shelter, whether it's this or a wickiup or lean-to, and then you're sleeping on the bare ground? You're going to get your energy sucked right out of you and have hypothermia by midnight, or out here, heat stroke. So you need to have some insulation under you in the desert as well. Now, I set this one up so that it is opposite the sunlight, which you can't see now because the sun's gone behind the clouds, which is good for me. But in the summertime, when it's triple digit out, when it's hot, you want your shelter north facing, which is the way it is right now. If this were wintertime and heat were an issue, I needed to stay warmer, I'd want it the other way. I'd want it south facing. Most other environments, you want a south facing shelter to get the benefit of the heat from the sun. But in the desert, you want a north facing tarp or wickiup, or find a north facing boulder and hole up in the shade there, or sit on the north side of your car if you're broke down by your vehicle. And then you can either dig a hole in the ground to get down there a little cooler where the ground temperature is going to be lower, or you can put some insulation like this, or sit on some clothing or your pack. If you're by your vehicle, pull out one of the seats. A lot of them come out now. You can pull those out and put it in the shade of a boulder or a tree, or you can sit on a spare tire. But get off the hot conductive properties of the ground. This can be a problem. Out here, the air temperature hovers in the summertime 110, 115 degrees. We had 117 degrees back in July. It was a furnace out here. So if that's the air temperature, guess what the ground temperature is? The ground temperature hovers right around 160, 180. The record for ground temperature in North America is in Death Valley at 201 degrees. You're going to cook your rear end sitting on ground like that. So get off the hot ground. Put something under you. And this is all I have to work with in the area again. This grass, this crunchy dry grass, which is going to be like sleeping on top of a porcupine all night, but it's better than sleeping on the hot ground. And this whole setup here took me, the entire thing took me probably 10-15 minutes with all the gathering and construction of it and that kind of thing, compared with the time it would take to build a natural shelter like a lean-to or wickiup. Now, I sleep a lot in wickiups and lean-tos on extended field courses where we're out for a couple weeks living off the land. I like doing that. That's fun. And I get a good night's sleep. But it's taken me time to work out a system for myself. And you know, if you're lost in the wilderness, you're in a desert survival situation, do you really want to be doing that? Carry one of these emergency blankets with the grommets, or get a good 10 by 12 tarp, 5 by 7 tarp from Home Depot, or a mil-spec poncho, army poncho with grommets, and you can rig up a tarp to get you out of the wind and sun in minutes. This can be a lifesaver. And notice I've got the silver side. The silver side here is on the outside to act a little bit as a heat reflector, as a signal panel as well to searchers in the air. Hopefully they'll be able to spot this. And nighttime comes, I can switch the whole thing around so that the reflective side's on the inside, bouncing some of my body heat around. But a very simple field expedient shelter. Carry a tarp or poncho with you as part of your desert survival kit. Okay, so here's my cobbler peg, as it's called. Not necessarily a knot. It's just got a stick driven through there. I just push the rope, the 550 cord in this case, the best rope you can carry, the true paracord. Push that through the grommet, put a stick through there to secure it, and then I'm all set. And then I run another one down through the other end of the tarp. So you might be putting 2 or 3 of these. If you got 3 or 4 grommets, you might be putting a bunch on there. But this is the way to secure your tarp. Excellent. I learned this from a Marine recon who had used this in Vietnam on a daily basis for just about a year. And once I learned it, I never went back to just trying to tie knots on these tarps and all this other stuff. Cobbler's pegs are the way to go.